Time I was, well, I'll tell you, I was all ready for public.
Welcome everybody. How you guys doing?
Wonderful.
Thank you. You guys know me. I'm Ralph Mims. I'm the Economic Development Manager for the Village of Los Lunas. Glad you can make it. Hopefully some more people will show up. You know, it's very hard to get people out to these night meetings. You know, they have other things to do like Dancing with the Stars. Very important things more than business, you know, seeing the game and whatever. But I'm glad these are the dedicated people that are here. These are people that want to make it happen. You know, they have businesses that want to grow. Shirley's going to give some good information tonight, and you know, she's going to give a great presentation. Before I go on, I'd like to have everyone introduce themselves, who you are, and you don't have to give a speech, but you know, make it short and sweet.
I'm Susan Blackwell. I sell real estate. Company name is Welcome Home Realty, and I also do some contracts and marketing consulting work on the side, and I actually have a client that I'm doing some government contracts for right now, so that's what brought me here today. Nice to meet you all.
So this way.
Hi, I'm Sally Walton. I work for the Small Business Administration. I'm a procurement center rep for small businesses, as well as a consumer marketing rep for the large businesses.
Now, Sally, you gave a presentation.
Yes, I did.
Yes.
To the Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. Excellent. Dan, why don't you just go this way? Okay. Yeah. You're going to finish your cookie, that's all right. You know,
that won't matter.
Your Family Dollar cookie.
I'm Diana Grossman. I'm with the Village of Los Lunas. I don't do anything.
It's easy. Go ahead.
I'm Laurel Campbell. I'm running for county treasurer, but I used to work at the financial part of government contracts, so I was really excited when I saw this, so I thought I could brush up on some of those skills.
Great, thanks for being here.
I'm Tom Greer, and I'm representing the Berlin Chamber of Commerce, as well as I own Creative Consulting Partners, which is the private part of the public-private partnership with Mid-Region Council of Governments and the tourism project with the railroad.
My name is Tom Sanderson. My company is Los Lunas Networks.
Mark Chavez. I recently started a business about 1.5 years ago here in Los Lunas. Gunhawk Firearms. Looking to try to outreach into these other communities that need these departments, police departments, sheriff's departments, trying to get something going with these guys. So.
Great. And Gunhawk is in the Los Cerritos. It's a retail shopping center, if you don't know where it's at. So we're great to have them in our community.
Charter Speed with Payne Consulting.
Betty Payne with Payne Consulting.
Are you guys married?
No.
Dating? Just dating?
Just take it out.
Just take it out.
Give them a chance for a shot, right?
Just worked out.
He's like, I do that to them all the time.
Yes, he does.
Every time.
Yeah, every time.
Sandy Shower. I own a company named Montanita Publishing, which is operated out of my home, and I do advertising, public relations, including the Village of Los Lunas newsletter.
Fantastic, Sandy. Okay, fantastic. Before we get to the presentation, I want to make an announcement. Tomorrow, between 2 and 5, we're going to have our first annual Valencia County Commercial Lenders Summit. It's going to be really a fantastic deal here in the Village of Los Lunas. This is the first time we'll be sponsoring it. We can have about 4 to 5 bankers that will be lined up in front of, in a row, like a panel format. We can have one micro lender, which is a loan fund. Kathy Sorensen will be here. And basically, it's just to pick their brain to see what is the lending capacity in America, in Valencia County, in Los Lunas, wherever. So basically, it's just a question and answer session, just to find out what is going on as far as lending, the capacity of lending. Is there any programs that are available and that's currently? So that's going to be from 2 to 5. We're going to have a 15-minute break between that. And then afterwards, there'll be some networking afterwards with the bankers. So as a business owner, there might be something that might be out there that you can benefit from having these bankers there, and also having the loan fund here. So that's tomorrow, right here, between 2 and 5. So hopefully you guys can make it. It's going to be a great event. So as we go on, we have the Live Work Los Lunas program. We're trying to grow that program. It's a challenge. We're trying to get people involved. We've been having public meetings. So we're trying to get people that are thinking about starting their own business to say, hey, this might be a program for them. We offer a lot of support. Some of the things that we offer is a website that we have is www.liveworkloslunas.org. If you do join the program, you can advertise on our website, and that goes out throughout the world. It's the World Wide Web. So that's something that we have. Also, we have applications that are over there. So basically, if you want to join the program, we have a mentorship program. If you want to be a mentor, or if you want to have a startup business, if you're just thinking about starting a home-based business, you can fill out the application. The application is there. We have a coach. His name is Ken Vincent. He's not here tonight. He will take you through the steps to make you successful in your business. So we want to grow this business. We're the pilot program in New Mexico, and so we want to make this program successful. We'll continue having monthly meetings. We might not have a meeting in December, but we're thinking about it. We're near Christmas, so we'll have a meeting next month, and we'll probably skip December and have a meeting in January. So if you know someone that would be a good speaker and will inspire someone to start their own business, we really encourage you. Let me know. You guys know how to get in touch with me. So I really respect you guys. You guys are business owners. You're taking the leap, and you're taking that shot, taking that chance. So basically, I'd like to go with Shirley. But I want to introduce you, Shirley. Is that all right? Can I read your bio? All right. Let me see if I can find it. Shirley's bio. Shirley F. Bailey is the sole proprietor of the 2012 startup women-owned small business, Procurement Strategies. The specific focus of Procurement Strategies is to assist small businesses in navigating government procurement processes, particularly with respect to the Federal Acquisition Regulation, FAR, and small business regulation programs. Shirley brings over 28 years of hands-on experience in federal and government contracting. Shirley will discuss the resources, tools, and information necessary for small businesses to actively prepare for, find opportunities with, and market to federal contracting agencies across the service, supply, and construction industries. The presentation will cover small business programs and certifications within the federal government and the advantages and challenges such programs present, and current state of federal contracting initiatives aimed at small business development. Did I get it right, Shirley?
Sure did.
All right, you take it away, Shirley.
Thank you. Well, there's 28 years have been spent with civil service. I worked with the Navy for 11 years. I came out here to New Mexico in 1989 with the Office of Naval Research, working the Rocky Mountain Institutes with respect to research and development opportunities. I went into private industry. I worked in civil engineering and environmental consulting through the programs that we're going to be talking about. Very strong in the federal contracting arena. I then left private industry and went to work with the Small Business Administration, specifically with the 8A and government contracting programs. And then a year and 2 weeks ago, I left SBA and started my own company to help businesses figure out whether or not A, do they want to be a federal contractor, and B, if you're in there, do it right, follow the regs, follow the process, and let you know that there's a tremendous amount of resources available to you, free, no cost, low cost, and we're going to go over some of those programs. So this is aimed at folks who have not been in the federal contracting world, as well as we'll touch on some of those if you have been in federal contracts, some of the opportunities, and I wrote down some of your businesses so that we can talk about those. First off, let's talk about spending of federal contract dollars in New Mexico. This is as of the end of 2012, which is September 30th, just 7 weeks ago. What we're looking at total across the state of New Mexico. Hey, I get to use this.
Pretty awesome.
This big, yeah. So this is all contracts, grants, direct, loans, and programs, and the insurance programs, and we ranked 33rd in the nation with respect to the total amount that was spent, $465 billion. The next one is contracts only. And I want you to see this, not be deceived by this number. $6 billion, $4 billion go two places. Los Alamos National Labs, Sandia National Labs. They do subcontract, they do reach out to small business, but they do not have to follow the federal acquisition regulation processes. They are not mandated to set aside small business. They're getting pressure to do so. They do not, they're government, they are contractor operated government facility. GOCO, what is it called? Government owned contractor operated.
Yes.
That's it. What we call the GOCO. So of this, we ranked 17th. 7 years ago, New Mexico was in the top 6. So our dollars have declined over the years. It's not a reflection of less money coming into the labs. It's restrictions on budgets. We are on a flat budget. The entire 2012 fiscal year had no budget passed. We are continuing what's called a continuing resolution until March of 2013. For another 6 months, no budget is passed. You've probably heard the sequestered statement with respect to the Department of Defense. Again, there's some real challenges. Flat budget, but there's still opportunity out there. Another area, correct me if I'm wrong, another area that I've looked at is an increase in the Department of Defense and some of these other agencies to stop repeating contracts to the same contractors over and over and over. They are required to mix it up. One directive that I know came down on the DoD side in a particular agency is they can't award more than 3 contracts to the same contractor. So this tells me that the train is passing. So this tells me that there's going to be more opportunity for the small business, but how you shape it and define it is critical. You've got to break the barrier of these contracting officers who do not want to change the way they do business, but are forced to. So they take a little resentment out on you every now and then. Communicate. I have a 3R policy: relationship, risk, and revenue. All of you as business owners, you know that you are at 100% risk. Business is risk. What you do to mitigate that risk, you build relationships. Good relationships, low risk, you start earning the bucks, the revenue. Inversely, you have a bad relationship, you're going to be considered high risk, you're not getting the contracts. So there's a snapshot of New Mexico through September 30th. I think that we can definitely get our hands on the $2 billion left over from the labs, and certainly the subcontracts that are out there. The federal acquisition regulation guides the federal contracting environment. There are special programs for small business. Specifically, 23% of federal contract dollars must be set aside for small business. Of that 23%, 5% woman-owned, 5% disadvantaged business, which is the 8A program. SBA no longer certifies you as a small disadvantaged business. You're certified in the 8A program if you qualify. And we'll talk about these programs. 3% hub zone. Hub zone stands for historically underutilized business zone. These are the low employment areas. If you locate in an area and hire from within a hub zone, doesn't have to be the same one, there's opportunities. And we will discuss a few of these. 3% service disabled veteran-owned small business is a requirement. So of the 23%, 16% of it has very special earmarks. Here's where we stand as of the end of 2012 on the goaling, what the SBA, the Small Business Administration, refers to as goaling. We fell short 21% for the overall small business category. For small disadvantaged business, we're above. We're short on the women-owned, and I'm going to caveat just a moment on the women-owned. In the last 2 years, it was signed into legislation. There's 83 industry codes in which women are underrepresented or substantially underrepresented, and this is the area where contracting officers must set aside exclusively for competition among women-owned businesses. Service disabled veteran owned, just short of the 3%. and very short on the hub zone. So, here's your snapshot of New Mexico. The Bureau of Business and Economic Research at UNM states that there's 47,000 businesses in the state of New Mexico. As of this past weekend, only 3,000 are registered. Those are not just the New Mexico-based firms. Those 3,000 include non-New Mexico-based firms that locate an office here. So this number is actually even less. 47,000 companies, only 3,000 are registered to do business in New Mexico with the federal government. Of that, 164 are 8A certified. Those are not all New Mexico-based firms. There's actually only about 120 that are New Mexico-based firms. 72 hub zone firms. 908 women-owned businesses, or you can read the numbers, I don't need to read all of those. The tribally owned, this requires certification and waiver of sovereign immunity because these are independent nations in our nation. As you can see, there's room. There's plenty of room. Yes, ma'am?
I see, that's right.
I engage. Please interject questions, ask. I'm more than happy to stop.
Well, the
Yes.
question I have was that you had said there was a requirement for disabled, service-disabled veteran businesses. They were 3%, I believe, on the previous slide. And then I
Correct.
saw you have separated veteran-owned and service-disabled veteran.
Exactly.
But there's no requirement for veteran.
There's no requirement for veteran.
So
The
it's just
set-aside program is uniquely the service-disabled veteran. Now then, I know a company who, if they had stayed in the 8A program or in the hub zone program, would be 8A, hub zone, woman-owned, veteran-owned, and service-disabled veteran. So you can be multi-certified, self-certified or certified by the SBA. Let me tell you right now, the 8A program and the hub zone program are the two programs that SBA certifies. You must apply to the program and be approved and certified in the program. We will talk a little bit more, but let me go ahead and briefly say on the service-disabled veteran-owned, you must have an adjudication letter from the Veterans Affairs relative. You can be 0% disabled to 100% disabled.
How can you be 0%?
It's a flesh wound, but you were wounded, and you're perfectly able to conduct business. But you incurred a service-oriented disability. It's not the disability that you would normally consider someone who is unable to work in this process. So the idea is, by the way, Zelmar's great. I just haven't finished signing. I own it, but I had to borrow it real quick offline. So. There we go. All right. Assuming that you have not registered, how many have registered for federal contracts? How many folks have registered? 1, 2. Okay. First thing you got to do, you got to get a DUNS number, Data Universal Numbering System. It's no cost to you. However, Dun & Bradstreet is a .com commercial, and they'll go for $99. We'll do this, and if you want it tomorrow, it's another.
They're all about it.
No cost. You go in to request a DUNS number for doing business with the government from this website, and that's the exact web link to get to it. Answer the mail. They'll confirm that you're at the location, who you are, and issue the DUNS number. And you should get it within a few days. Once you have that DUNS number, you want to go into the System of Award Management, SAM. How many of you have heard the phrase CCR, or the Central Contractor Registration? Doesn't exist anymore. This is the new replacement. And
Since when, Shirley? When did that take effect?
July 31st, July 25th. right there.
End of July.
Right there, end of July. And I can tell you, it was a bear trying to get it to work. It has its challenges. You'll want to walk away and wonder why you didn't get a diploma after you finish it. But I will say this, answer the mail. Work through the process. And I will say this, there are many free resources, the Small Business Development Center, the Procurement Technical Assistance Program, and we'll go through these. There's WEST, the Women's Economic Self-Sufficiency Team. I have all these in here. These resources are free to help you get this process started. So, what you're going to do first, right here, you got to create a user account first. And then you'll get your username and password, and then you'll go back in and register and update your business. The entity is your business. If you're already registered in CCR and you have not gone through SAM yet to migrate, make sure you use the email address that you originally used in CCR, if it's still available to you, because it makes it a lot easier when you hit migrate, it actually migrates. I have a client who I put in the new email address and it wasn't the one originally used, and I'll tell you, it was tap dancing for quite a few days before we finally made that connection, and we had to go find the old Gmail account, reactivate it to be able to transfer.
That's the same thing we're doing. What a mess, because that person's gone.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
It's a challenge.
Yes, it
So, anyway, you have to be registered in SAM. You cannot do business with the government if you're not registered. So you got to get a DUNS number, and then you come here to SAM. They're going to ask you a lot of questions about your routing number and your checking account. Government does not issue paper checks. It's okay. Nobody sees it. Not even the government. The only entities that see that information are the finance authorities who issue the checks. As a member of SBA, I could go in and look at information, but that was not the piece that I could look at. So it is secure. I'm confident in that. When you create your individual account, again, you're just putting all the basic information in, who you are, where you're at, and again, the Small Business Development Centers, Procurement Technical Assistance Programs, and many others are out there to help you with their costs. If somebody says, yes, I can do it for $500, please call Ralph, call me, and go, where did you say that was free? Because it's free, okay? And I'm in this business, so I'm not going to collect that money from you. When you get registered, you go in, you can see at the top there where it says, would you like to migrate the legacy system account? You two that have been in there, that's what you're going to check yes, and then you'll have access. On the left side, you have the complete registration complete. The rest of you will be going in to register a new entity, and that's where you'll just answer the mail as you walk through. Now here's, Diane, my derogatory statement. The U.S. government, with all of its fickle ways, has something really fabulous here. It is called one source to register for all federal contracts, worldwide. It is the System of Award Management, SAM.gov. The state of New Mexico, where did it go? There we go. 33 counties, 122 municipalities, and they all have separate registrations. As a small business person, I have sat there and spent hours. Okay. Oh, look, Hobbs has a completely different commodity catalog than Las Cruces and Albuquerque, and oh, they're separate and have an even different registration process. This is a challenge every March, and please jot this down. This is a wonderful program to go to. In March, there's a program called Meet the Buyers. For the last 9 years, 10 years, I have attended that meeting, and the young gentleman that facilitates it is always standing next to me with a microphone because I love to ask the first question to the panel. Why does New Mexico have 175 to 200 registration points and the U.S. government has 1? We have got to make a connection because it's very costly to you as business owners to sit there and build this. You need administrative help. And it's very time-consuming walking through all these commodity lists and getting registered. So if you praise the government for nothing else, praise it for the fact that you only have one site that takes care of all things federal contracts.
So you go to the, I don't see the website. I guess I can't see it.
SAM.gov.
Oh, SAM.gov.
SAM.gov. Yep. It was on the previous slide. SAM.gov.
Like yesterday, I went online and I registered with the state of New Mexico. So was that just like almost a waste of time?
No, it's just the state. And when you say you register with the state of New Mexico, what department?
The pricing or...
Did you go to the statewide pricing agreement?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
General Services Division?
No, the pricing agreements for commodities.
Okay. Sounds to me like you probably registered with the General Services Division, which is up in Santa Fe for the state of New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that Los Lunas has a separate registration, and Valencia County has a separate registration. Socorro has one. That's what my point is with all of this, is there's multiple registration sites for New Mexico. Pick your targets.
Well, I talked to a gentleman, I'm not going to say his name, in Los Lunas, that told me to, and I told him I wanted to be able to sell commodities to the sheriff's department, the city police department, and he sent me to the state.
Okay. And I'm going to tell you why. The state engages in a statewide pricing agreement, where law enforcement can also reach into the General Services Administration of the federal government. And you can register for a GSA contract that sells to the state, a pricing agreement transfer. There's 3 items: law enforcement, which includes security, IT, information technology, and I cannot remember the third one, but I know there was 3. So these 2 are statewide pricing agreements. So you are working with the General Services Department of the state of New Mexico, GSD, and that's run by Larry Maxwell, good guy, procurement attorney, and he's the one who's managing that for the state. They handle the statewide pricing agreements. And that's why you were sent in that direction, because you're in law enforcement products, and so they will establish that agreement. It's a pre-qualified contract at the state level. GSA, the federal government, has a similar one, General Services Agreement. One or the other they're not interchangeable with respect to selling to the federal government, but your GSA will flow to your statewide agreement as well. So that's an area that I would certainly look at as you start growing your business. There's a very unique opportunity in the statewide pricing agreement. But it was GSD, it was not all the other counties or all the other cities. It was uniquely the state level, and it's because of the pricing.
So can I go from state to state?
If you're registered in those states, I don't see why not. And you would register as a foreign entity in those other states, like their PRC, their Public Regulation Commission. Some have it, some don't, most do. Okay, so we were there, answer that. Through there. Okay, we're going to go back and we're just going to. Huh? You need to add something?
Yeah.
What do we need to add?
They just passed the tax law. If you owe taxes, do not register to SAM until you pay those taxes.
No.
Thank you. I will say this. Here's where your SAM will get delayed. Absolutely true. Thank you, Sally. If you've not paid your taxes, if you are in arrears, you will get a failed IRS validation, because this runs through. When you type in, there's a block of information. When was your last tax filing? Under what name? Here's something interesting in registering for SAM. Same situation with Gmail versus the new email. Had started the company 2 years ago, but hasn't had as much revenue. So has been filing as an individual. I put in the DUNS number, they have a tax ID number for the company. Go in with the registration and I get a failed IRS validation email. Then I find out, oh, I did it as an individual. It's like, okay, well now I gotta go back in, change your tax ID number for your company to your social security number and tie the name to the social security number, because that's what the IRS is looking for. So company, tax ID number, company file taxes, personal, social security. Make that distinction because you're not approved and you're not even seen until the IRS validates your taxes. Thank you, Sam. I felt it, I know it. I didn't want to say that. All right, well, let's go back to talk about these specialized certifications. Again, the 8A and the Hub Zone are certification applications. You can find them at sba.gov. There's a special software program that accepts the application. Right now, it's the Business Development Management Information System, BDA-MIS. You're going to put it all in electronically, and then you're going to print out 300 pages and sign them and send them. So, I worked in that program very specifically and was always sort of tickled with the fact, well, yes, of course it's electronic, but print it and sign it and send it to us anyway. And attach all of your 3 years worth of taxes and everything else that goes with it. So it is a 9-year program. It's based on social and economic disadvantage. Now, social disadvantage is the Title 7 minority classifications, or disability if you can show preponderance, what they call preponderance of evidence of discrimination. And that can be either side of the coin, male or female, with respect to discrimination. You can do it combined. I'm working on one now that is Native American and has huge discrimination processes and can name names and dates and times when they were discriminated against because they were Native American. So there's a combined process. This economic disadvantage side, your personal net worth must be below $250,000 to come into the program. Thereafter, below $750,000 personal net worth. What's excluded? The equity in your home, the equity in your business. There's quite a few things that they will take out for you to get there. And I have those calculations if you're interested. The Hub Zone, again, this is aimed at the high unemployment areas, urban or rural. All of the reservations are considered Hub Zone. So you locate a business, a principal place of business, where most of the people would clock in a Hub Zone. 35% of your employees, and remember you are counted as an employee, you must count yourself, must reside in a Hub Zone. It doesn't have to be the same Hub Zone. This is a competitive program. Oh, let me go back to the 8A. 8A is both sole source and competitive. Currently, you can sole source contracts, that's no competition, up to $4 million under the 8A program. A lot of companies get their start getting those sole source contracts, and then they build what's called a business development program until they can get competitive and start putting in competitive proposals. Hub Zone, purely competition. 2 or more firms. Woman-owned and economic disadvantaged woman-owned. Those are 2 classifications. Yes, sir.
Is this considered a Hub Zone where we're at? Valencia County?
Actually, you can go to sba.gov. You can look on the Hub Zone maps. There's a Hub Zone map. You type in your address. Type in the addresses of your employees. 35% come back. If your business is located in the Hub Zone. I can't answer your question because I don't have the census tract data in my head. I got a lot of stuff up there, but not that.
They just revised it based on the 2010 census, so it took a lot of people that were in the Hub Zone out of the Hub Zone.
Yeah. When I worked at SBA before they moved to the federal building, I can tell you that my office was in a Hub Zone. The apartments across the street, separated by a yellow line, were not in a Hub Zone because everybody living in the apartments had a job. They were employed. This was an empty office building as far as the Hub Zone is concerned. So there's some nuances to the Hub Zone with that. Yes?
I have a question. You said on the Hub Zone it's competition 2, a minimum of 2. What happens when there isn't to HUBZone vendors?
Can't do a HUBZone set-aside.
No, they can't. You have to make a determination. A contracting officer does what's called market research, and that's in Chapter 10, FAR Part 10. So what they do is they go out, you'll see, and I'm going to show you where those sites are too, but you'll see where they're asking for sources sought information, request for information. I cannot tell you how important it is that you respond. Respond.
I've responded to a bunch of them and I don't hear anything back.
Follow up. Put it on your calendar. Every 2 weeks, you're calling that contracting officer. So, what decisions did you make? Where are we at with this? How are we doing? Remember, relationships.
Okay.
You're not hurting the relationship by calling them every 2 weeks, because what you're going to get to, and this is what used to happen to me as a contractor, is I would call them so often, finally they'd just say, well, I might as well put you on my calendar. I go, great, how about Thursday mornings? Then we're striking up. I know their kids, I know the dog's name, I know what's going on, I know they like X beer. When I'm in town, we're going to go have one. You know, but you're building a relationship. You cannot expect, think about everything else you do in business. Do you just sort of toss it out there and go, okay, well, now I'll wait? No, you follow up. You follow up. You're trying to get it done. And when you're trying to sell a business or you're trying to get business to take care of you, it's a constant communication process. So I cannot encourage you enough. Put it on your calendar and tell them, well, I'll call you in 2 weeks. Are you going to be in the office? What's your day off? You know, I had people in my portfolio, they knew exactly what day off I was, and I work everything else. You know, so again, follow up. And when you see a source is sought or a request for information, respond. Follow the format. They have a format that's in there. They only give you a few days, 10 days max, maybe. Sometimes they give you longer because they're truly looking for that. So from there, once they receive all of these and they make a decision, not qualified, not qualified, okay, they may do it, not qualified, okay, they may, 2 or more. Now they have the decision, do we set it aside? And that's why you need to follow up, because you want to pressure them. You want to know what the outcome is.
Yeah.
You want to know.
Are they allowed to tell you who qualified?
They won't tell you who the other firms are, but they'll say, we have made a decision, yay or nay. If they say no, and you know that you, and I did this, I mean, I was in cahoots with engineering firms all across the state. Hey, you're in the 8A program. We're going to respond to this. We want to get it set aside under the 8A. Okay, but you'll be my competition, so we'll get it 8A. You know, you collaborate. Can't tell you how many times Wendy and I did that.
Yeah, it is better to compete amongst small businesses than a small business trying to compete against large businesses.
Yeah.
And that is the objective of the sources sought. And what I see, because I sign my 4 federal agencies I handle, I sign every one they want to go large business. And every one of them, they put out their sources sought. And they got no responses. Or they got inadequate responses. But to caveat for Shirley, the other person is that small business specialist. Every federal agency has a small business specialist. And get on their calendar. If you're a small business, know that person, because they're your advocate. They're your internal advocate to that federal agency.
Let me take a few minutes to tell you, Sally is the Procurement Center representative for the state of New Mexico. Her role is to work with the agencies and very select agencies and convince them, no, you're setting it aside. You're going to set it aside. I know there's businesses. You're going to do a source of thought. You're going to set it aside. No, I am going to tell you it's set aside. She is an advocate for the agencies to meet those goals. She's also an advocate for small business. So I can't tell you enough how important her role is, and there's many more across the nation, you know, that provide those services to the agencies, and she makes herself available to the small business as well. Yes, sir.
What do you do if you don't fit into any category
that
they fund?
I don't know.
I
can name 3 or 4 items
Okay,
the
let me
government
ask you
won't
this
buy.
question. Let me ask you, because I'm going to plug PTAP.
Okay.
Have you been to PTAP?
Yes.
Have you got on their bid match?
No, I've only been looking at the categories in there.
Okay, it's called the NAICS code.
Industry code.
Your NAICS,
Yeah.
right? North American Industry
Yeah.
Classification System. There is classifications for every industry in the United States. Every industry.
Yeah.
Well, except for, pornography
Well, what-
and stuff like that.
Every legal industry.
No, but what I'm saying is,
Broaden your
I-
base.
I'm not socially or economically disadvantaged.
Okay.
I'm not a woman, I'm not a veteran, I'm not.
You're a small business.
I'm a small business.
23% of federal dollars have to go to small business.
Yeah.
16% is dedicated
But,
to
Small
bids.
Business Administration, we've looked at a whole lot of grant applications. And being an old white guy who's not a veteran, who has too much money, I don't qualify for any.
As a small business?
No.
Really? Okay, wait a minute. NAICS code 541712, which is research and development.
Okay.
Okay, and I get you on a
Go for
soapbox
it,
here.
go for it.
541712, that is all AFRL uses, the Air Force Research Lab.
Mhm.
2 tech directorates out there, right? Do you know what to qualify as a small business, the NAICS requirement is? 500 employees. How many employees do you have?
4.
I think you're a small business.
You're a small business.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's NAICS codes out there. PTAP has, and only New Mexico is the only one I know that they offer this as a free
Well,
service.
I don't want to use up all the time here.
Yeah, I told you to get
But
me
let
on
me
my
let
soapbox.
me get a card from you, because we've done this through the college and everything else, and everything we've looked at, for one reason or another, we were like 10 categories down in preference.
Trucking, okay, trucking, right? You know trucking, the
Yeah.
18 heavy haulers?
Yeah,
I think there is $49,000, I think, is the small business cutoff.
Yeah.
So you're talking about the Swifts,
Mhm.
right? You're not talking about, what's this trucking company down here on 47? That guy's a small business,
Yeah.
right? There's probably 30 small business trucking firms here in just the Albuquerque area that I know of.
Are you a heavy hauler?
No.
No?
You can get into that bit. That's really big business.
The industry code, let's go back to the industry codes real quick. So you have this North American Industry Classification System. It used to be called the SIC code, Standard Industrial Classification. So you have 2 elements that determine size. Average 3-year revenue or number of employees. And there's a couple of industry codes in there that are up to 1,200 employees. For it. So if you go to sba.gov/size, and you can look at all of the industry categories. Here's an area where I think you would probably fit. Other services, other support services to the agencies. I tell everybody in their industry code to use 115310, other support services to forestry, because the forestry thinks that's their personal NAICS code. And they put everything. Oh, we need uniforms. Oh, we need a new building. Oh, we need,
Exactly.
They throw everything under there. The other code is facility support, 561210.
Yeah.
561210. Facility support, what do you support? You're supporting all the bases in the agencies. And those have high NAICS code standards, 14, 18 million, 21 million. The construction, the main construction is 33.5 million, is considered small. That's average 3-year revenue. So there's some flexibility. If you're not getting the answers that you need from the SBDC or PTAP, highly encourage you to call one of us to do that. But yeah, call
Because I'll call them.
Is the forestry also USDA?
Yeah.
Yes. Department of Agriculture, Department of Interior, very good about meeting their goals.
Yeah, we do a little bit of business with them, not much, but we do some
What
business.
about U.S. Border and Customs?
Some,
BLM.
Department of Homeland Security is an area that you should be looking at.
yeah. There's a lot of them.
All right, so
That's why I
woman
need to
owned
get
and
in there.
economically disadvantaged woman owned. Again, the economic disadvantage is under the $250,000. If you're in the 8A program, you're automatically considered economically disadvantaged. Women have 83 industry codes, the NAICS codes that we've been talking about, North American Industry Classification System. 83 where women are underrepresented or substantially underrepresented. Ironically, commercial and industrial construction is not one of them, but residential construction is. So read it, sba.gov/WOSB, woman-owned small business. They have a whole compliance guide to talk about the 83 industry codes. When you go to market to the agencies, these are the things you're going to tell them. I can help you meet this goal and this, and you've got this certification. I'm self-certified. SBA does have a certification process where you can upload, or you can use a third-party certifier for the woman-owned small business. There's, I'm sorry, say that again?
Can you give the web address?
sba.gov/WOSB, woman-owned small business. Veteran-owned, self-certification, service-disabled vet. This is what I was talking about earlier. You're going to get an adjudication letter from the VA regarding that disability. And remember, again, it can be 0% to 100. Native American-owned, self-certifying, have your certificate of Indian blood. That's what CID is. And tribally owned, their tribes are going to waive the sovereign immunity. It must be suable, or be sued by the U.S. government if they don't perform. Suable. Suable. I don't even think. Did I just create that word?
So I don't know if I'm jumping ahead or what, but bonding. What about bonding? What is there? Do we have to be bonded for a certain amount of dollars?
Only in construction.
Construction contracts will require bonding. Services, if you're in the engineering field, you have professional liability insurances. So yes, there is. You have 10 days from award to produce that bond.
Okay.
Are there opportunities for bonding? And yes, SBA has a bonding program. Contracts up to $2 million, I believe, they'll bond. Was it 125 or something like that? So,
what about a retailer or a manufacturer?
It comes under, you'll see it in the proposals.
yeah.
They'll tell you if they require
Okay.
certifications. If there is no requirement,
Don't worry.
Then
Don't
don't
worry.
bring it up either. No, wait, should we be bonding? Unless you know your competition can't get bonded and you can. But then you're limiting yourself to only one proposal. Well, they can accept one proposal if that's all that comes in. You know, but if they're in the market research stage, don't shoot yourself in the foot by eliminating your competition, the ability to set it aside under these programs. And that's what we're talking about, set aside. And that's what the phrase is. You're setting aside a contract, you're putting up fences that say only women, only 8A, only service-disabled vet. On the sole source, service-disabled veterans can be sole sourced to the Veterans Affairs, Department of Veteran Affairs. 8A, any agency, sole source. Native American and tribally owned BI, Bureau of Indian Affairs, and sole source. Again, 8A and Hub Zone, go to sba.gov. They have a link on government contracting. So you want to be in the 8A program, they take you through an assessment and just follow. There's a number of folks that will help you with the 8A application. That is not free, but they can kind of give you some guidance. You know, but there are sources out there that can point you to other sources that can help you. Now we're going to talk about where to find these opportunities. For contracts greater than $25,000, bless you. For contracts greater than $25,000, the Federal Business Opportunity website is where they're going to be posted for non-classified contracts. So you can search by any of these industries on a weekly basis. I have a client that I do research all across, not just Fed Biz Ops, but open tenders internationally, and they're in the public relations world, and so we're constantly looking for marketing, branding, you know, just the logos and new web designs and unique projects, you know, that are going to take some kind of community awareness building. So what I do is I go, okay, the last 7 days, I don't worry about any of the set-asides, and then I just start keyword search, or I use the NAICS code search, 5, 4, 1, 8, 10, and 20. Those are probably numbers that you're familiar with. 6, 13, 9.
Actually, most of the work I do is in elevators, oddly enough, but yes.
Okay.
I haven't done any of the government work for marketing.
don't let the fact that I said that this is over $25,000 fool you, because there's a lot of agencies that'll put the $5,000 one in there because they're going to have a contracting officer who goes, no, I want everything that goes through at FedBiz office. Post it, I want it to publish. Okay? So, again, over here, you can register. You do not need to log into this. You can go directly here, hit the search key, and hit return, and it'll start listing all the projects that are available. But you can register and request an email notification. You can request it on the keywords. You can request it on your industry code, whatever you want. I'm going to back up just a second. Remember when we were talking about the system of award management? Sam, you have to be registered there. The SBA small business profile is now attached on the back side of that. I forgot about it. This is my world, folks. Sorry. So SBA's profile is attached on the back of that. When contracting officers will go out and start searching the dynamic small business search function, and they're going to throw in keywords. There is a section in there you need to put in keywords. Every keyword you can possibly imagine that describes what you're looking for, what you can do. Don't repeat yourself. You have 525 characters. Use 524. Don't spell construction twice.
And you do that when you're filling out.
Put it this way, how many of you guys got my email?
Get to what?
Got my email?
How many got Sally Walton's email? SBA.gov or NNSA, DOE.gov?
About the Socorro?
Yeah.
This Thursday?
You did, because you know why?
Yeah.
You registered in the dynamic small business search as for Socorro or Valencia County. And I did that and pulled up every small business that was registered in the SBA portal and sent them an email and said, hey, this is free. Normally they charge. It's a free.
So contracting officers are going to look for you that way. I have news for you. I look for businesses that way too. And what do? I do teaming and I do strategies and I try to put companies together. I use it as a portal to find out who the competition is, who's out there. What do my clients need to look at? Oh, wait, look at what this client said on their small business profile. We need that keyword in ours. So, don't reinvent the wheel. If you know a company that does what you do, go take a look at them. Go to sam.gov and put in their name, pull them up.
Because it'll also link to your website. That's how they do market research.
Absolutely. They will go out and look long before they go out for a source of sought or a request for information. And sometimes they'll just say there's just not enough SBA profiles out there and make the decision there. And that's where Sally comes in going, no, you can't just make that blanket decision. You need to ask. Because somebody can get registered relatively quickly. I say relatively quickly. All right, so and then again, you can have the emails come back to you. You tweak it to fits kind of the stuff that you want. Maybe you only want Army. You can do that too. You can pick your clients as well. I only want this base or this facility. You can make it that specific. Some folks, I only want to look at what's happening in New Mexico. I only want to look at what's happening in Congressional District 1. You can make those restrictions. Acquisition Central, acquisition.gov is the portal for all things federal contracting. And you can find all of these websites. If you go to acquisition.gov, you're going to find all of them. You're going to find the SAM. You can find SAM here. You can find all the different programs, the industry codes. You can link right into the NAICS codes here. VetBiz, that's who certifies the service-disabled veteran businesses, and that is a certification process, by the way, with the VA. VetBiz.gov will get you there. A lot of neat stuff in this. I'm going to go through some of it. You can see I've got this circle. We're going to go and look at that in a minute. I have a strategy, Procurement Strategies, go figure that's my name, right? So I have a strategy for using the Catalog of Federal Domestic Assistance, which is grants.gov. It's the federal grant program. Sometimes what I will do is go out there and find the money that a municipality or a rural area of New Mexico needs to build infrastructure or what have you, because my heating and ventilation guy or my road pavement person is interested in doing work in bond. All right, well, go see if you can find some money. Is it matching formula? Is it formula at all? Is it a direct grant?
Well, that's something, as you know, we're considered a rural municipality,
Yeah.
and this is probably something that we utilize here in Valencia County.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
If you can, I'll tell you what the number, correct me if I'm wrong, #1 grant agency is Rural Development, U.S. Department of Agriculture. They have grants out there for everything.
Well, I just found out last week that the Office of Science and the Department of Energy issues 2,000 SIBR Phase 1, Small Business Innovative Research, and they award them all grants.
So, Shirley, what's the link to that?
Not
Okay,
purchase orders, grants.
Well, if you go to acquisition.gov, you'll get there here, but cfda.gov will get you directly to the catalog of federal domestic assistance.
I just don't like the grant application process.
It can be
It's a
challenging.
nightmare.
It can be challenging.
Once you do
Yes.
one, no.
But you can always hire somebody to help you with that.
We have engineers that can do it. We're just so short-staffed in the business. There's 3 of us in the planning department. It just takes too much time writing these
Yeah,
grants.
a grant writer is worth their weight in gold.
Oh,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, I met a lady, she's a small business technical report writer, which is grant writer. She
Yeah, it's
does it
very
on the
good.
side. But she's from Calgary.
Start to finish, how long does it usually take?
Oh, you can't, it just depends. Are you going after value-added producer grants for marketing agricultural commodities, or are you going for the FCC grant to inlay internet in your county? Or are you looking for a water system, for a mutual domestic water system? So it just very much depends on
Your
the
product,
grant.
it would be a product.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
very much depends on what you're looking at. I'll tell you another one. Here's an insight. And a lot of people forget about this, and I was going to save it for the resources page, but I'm going to give it to you now. New Mexico State Library. Please do not forget your library. Your library has access to foundation.org or foundationcenter.org. Those are all the private grants. Those are all the benefactors who had so much money and no relatives, and they didn't know what to do with it. But if you're, 5 feet tall, redhead, and want to do something in engineering, here it is, a grant.
New Mexico State Library, the Village of Los Lunas eventually wants to build another library. We're growing. Is there grants out there for that, for construction?
I will tell you a story about the Bayard Public Library. Bayard went out for a rural rural development community facility grant, $370,000. Then they took on Rural Development's community facility loan, and $1 million later they got a nice library in Bayard.
Wow. This is something we may
Cynthia
need to-
Shetter has this information.
Oh, Cynthia, okay. My card, okay. She has this information. How long ago did she get the information?
You know what? She's a librarian. I think she should have had it a long time ago. It's out there. Remember, the reference librrians are charged with research. I mean, you can call
that's
the library
another free resource.
Free resource.
Free resource.
Could you give me all the information about the 8A program or about infrastructure grants,
Yes.
both private and federal? And they'll send you an email. Here's all the links. Here's what you need. This is the information.
Is there grants out there for, I don't know if this, for beautification, enhancement?
Landscaping.
One of the projects we're doing is we're doing the improvements to our interchange at 203, like a mini Big Eye.
Mhm.
So we're searching for monies we already have $400,000 to do the project, but the project's going to be about $2 million project. We want to do something real nice as our entryway to the village.
Mhm.
Is there anything out there as far as grants or?
I would be surprised if there wasn't.
Is it Xeriscape?
Xeriscape, we're looking at signs, we're looking at lighting.
Low water.
Yeah, low water.
Usage, I'm sure
Make it
there's
more
some
beautiful,
kind of-
just enhance
Take
it.
there may be something with Bureau of Land Management, Bureau of Rec, because you're going the Xeriscape route. Again, rural development is one of the #1 in my mind. They have a lot of grants.
Yeah.
Who knows? Someone may have passed on and left, a foundation specifically for folks in Valencia County, you know, to do some kind of beautification.
Well,
I mean, I find some stuff that's just really off the wall at the foundation.
You find that? Oh, that's my.
The library.
Go to the library. Don't forget that the library is a valuable resource.
Okay.
And if you have kids, by the way, Letters for Literacy is going on. Here's my plug. Letters for Literacy. You know, take a look. You know, I manage the rural bookmobile programs and the books by mail program. There's a real challenge in keeping those vehicles on the road, but New Mexico can't afford not to have the bookmobiles, and that's my only statement regarding that. But anyway, don't forget, New Mexico State Library. And if you come into the library in Santa Fe at Camino Carlos Rey, it's free access. We have the computers upstairs. It's open noon to 4:30, and you can get right on foundation.org and start searching for, you know, there's like 30,000 grants in that program. You have 2,000 in the federal that I can think. I mean, right off the top of my head, I'll say, yeah, an average is about 2,000 grants. A lot of money.
Take the tablet they charge for printing. Just saying.
Or email the screens to you. I always email the links to the screens, you know, for the information. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at, remember, we're looking for opportunities. We've already looked at the federal business opportunity, FBO. Now we're going to take a look at the procurement forecast. And what you can do there, these are all the agencies, agriculture through Social Security. The last link there takes you out to their forecast. Some are updated, some are not. I'm not going to apologize for those that haven't, but there's quite a few that do. And it gives you a really good picture of what's going on. To the extent that they tell you the email of the person that's going to put it out, what quarter of the year they're going to put it out, how much it is, and whether it's going to be small business set aside. And it's all listed by industry code. The other links take you to their business opportunities, their small business information, and like Sally said earlier, every agency has a small business specialist to work with. And you also have one at the Washington, D.C. federal level, which I have here in this presentation as well. So, okay, here's the Department of Agriculture. You can search by the source of supply, by the individual, like the Mims Research Lab, or, you know, you can look, no, that's the other agencies doing. What was it? Yeah, maybe it was interesting. Are they DOE? Yeah,
Ames.
Yeah. Ames is DOE. Okay. So, and then what quarter of the year, what state? I mean, you can break this all down. This is what it looks like. Note at the top that says FY 2013. Department of Agriculture is already listed what they have going on out there. And there's quite a list. And towards the end of that list is a lot of training courses. Here's what the Department of Energy looks like. Here's the 7 that are in New Mexico at this moment. The first one is custodial janitorial services, security, engineering, commodities, outerwear for men. I looked them up really quick. I can't remember what the last 3 are now. But you know, just because it's National Nuclear Security Agency doesn't mean you don't have a product to offer.
Greg Gonzalez.
Yep, Greg Gonzalez is the small business specialist for NNSA.
Right there.
So that's what's out as of this past weekend for the Department of Energy. So again, you can look in advance, a year in advance. Look at the dates. These are out in June. June of next year. You can certainly start a relationship and start communicating with the agency about this contract.
2014.
That's when it ends.
And do they still have to give you the existing contract?
Yes.
So I
there's
found
an
that to
income
be very helpful.
Yep.
And I didn't know that until someone told me, wait, do you want to see it? And I was like, yes. So I didn't know to even ask, and now I know. I started off by calling and going, can I see what the existing contract is so I can give you an apples to apples comparison?
Yep. Or they'll give you what the incumbent's name is or the contract number, and you can always go under the federal Freedom of Information Act.
I've done that.
So when it says contract type and it says prime, would there be something else Could there be something subprime?
But mostly they're going to be prime. If they need for the forecast, it's going to be prime. You're going to read it. The solicitation draft is here. You can read it and go, you know what, I'm going to have to outsource this piece. So you can start developing your team, your strategy for going out. Do what?
So that's why you register an FBO, because when this comes out as a synopsis or sources sought, you go in there as an interested vendor, right? And it'll give you a little box there. And you can put in there, I am a service disabled, women owned, providing X whatever. For instance, don't you provide guns?
We provide guns, ammunition, training.
Okay, so in last December, NNSA put out a pro force sources sought, protective forces. What do they carry? Guns. So then you go in there as an interested vendor and you say, I am a small business, women-owned, service disabled, whatever, willing to provide ammunition or guns and have all applicable certifications, right? Because I know with selling guns, you have to have some paperwork. And you put that in there as interested vendors so that when the big, what's that company in Espanola? ACAL Security? Okay, so when ACAL looks at that and thinks about maybe they want to bid, they say, oh look, there's a local source for ammunition or guns or whatever. So, yeah, you can't, you may or may not be able to bid a $900 billion contract, but it was over 5 years. But you sure can provide a product or service. And the only way interested bidders know any of this is when you register and you type that in there.
So if there is a large contract like that, do they need that product all at once? I mean, do they need truckload after truckload after truckload?
No.
Or do they need little bits and pieces?
Right.
It depends. You have to read the
depends.
solicitation. What's
You
the
know,
deliverable?
the
What's
security
the-
guy gets his pistol stolen. So they're looking for a source to buy a pistol, right? Or they have to go shoot out at the range.
Well, one of the issues the challenging issue for me is a lot of these manufacturers they get in there before the retailer gets in. Like Glock, for instance. Glock has a deal with a lot of these police departments where they can go directly to Glock, the manufacturer, and buy these guns. And it cuts me out of it. I'm completely cut out of the deal. So
Yours is not the only industry that happens. Xerox is another one. We have folks that are distributors for Xerox. The agencies can go direct to Xerox. Xerox can even buy it through the GSA from that same distributor. They don't get the credit, Xerox does. There are inequities in this process. But your communication, and you're trying to build a relationship, and you're going to write directly to ACAP also. Besides the interested vendor, you're going to put together a statement of qualifications, a one-page, nice, neat. You're going to introduce yourself to ACAP. And you're going to give
Or to any other interested vendor
yeah.
in there. You can come out with a standard, they'll give you a name, you put your name in there, your telephone number, point of contact, and then that little blurb over there. And so then the interested vendors, because I even look at that. When I'm going to sign off for them to go full and open, I'm looking at what interested vendors are looking at that bid or that proposal. And most of the time, it becomes a subcontracting opportunity.
Now I'm going to show you where you can find out who got those contracts. The Transparency and Accountability Act of 2006 required that the federal government publish all awards, the amounts, who it went to, when, what's the duration, place of performance, everything Sally's saying under her breath over there. So this is it, fpds.gov. You need to register for your registration. It's not a lead, it's just a couple of pieces of information, username, password.
Wait a minute before you turn.
FP, remember, I'm going to email this to anybody who asks for it. I'm emailing it to you. And all these links are live when you get the website. When you get
You
this.
sure this is not copyrighted?
So this, for all awards over 3,000, are published here. They're usually published within 3 days now. Used to be
After
30.
award.
After award.
Within 5, because
Okay.
at a certain dollar value, they have to report to Congress first.
So when you go in here and you do the easy search, you're going to register. You can see where the register. You're just going to register as public. It also says a member of Congress. That's the one you select. Okay. Contracting officers have the other side of that coin because they're the ones loading the data. And I can tell you, I've found contracts going back to the early 70s. They've done a phenomenal job of capturing the history of procurement. That's what that looks like, and then you'll just log in. Here's me, I've logged in. You want the center button, it's much easier, the easy search. And you can try to mess around with the ad hoc reports and the standard reports, but I think it'll make it more frustrating. I highly recommend the easy search. What you can do once you get into the easy search, you have some 50 categories which you can search. This is just a short list. The advanced search, but you can search on a company name. You can search on the DUNS number. You can search on, I want everybody out of Las Cruces, New Mexico. I want to know, any number of things. Industry code. I want to know all the industry codes in New Mexico for construction, limited to site preparation contractor. Something along that line. You can get very definitive with this. This is what you get back. This is for the vendor state of New Mexico. That's all I searched on. You get the top 10 agencies, the top 10 contracting officers, the contracting agencies, the top 10 contractors that get the contract. You can go in and view. I don't think I did a view. We'll see what the next slide is. This, I very much do this. When this pulls up, go and sort it by the date signed, because you'll get stuff from 1982 and then 2006 and then 2012 and then back to 1974. So organize it so that you're looking at the most recent award on back. And you can go in right here and you can view the task order. Tells you exactly what it's for. It'll have a description of the services. It will also give you information that you can no longer get from SAM or CCR. The size of the company, as they report, number of employees and their annual revenue. It will also tell you what their industry, what their special codes, their women owned, their 8A, their service disabled, whatever be the case. It tells you the task order. If it's a multi-award, if it's what we call an IDIQ, indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity, on-call contract, there is another website, and they didn't get a chance to put it in here, called Contract Directory, one word, contractdirectory.gov. That's a list of all the on-call contracts that are out there that rotate every 5 years, every 3 years. Now you can pre-position yourself for that contract if you know that it's coming out in 3 years, like, okay, there's my target. This is who I need to talk to. This is who's had the contract, because you can find out who had the contract. You can take a look at all of that and sort of get yourself ready for that next round when it goes out for advertisement. Here's the other side. This is populated by Federal Procurement Data System. It's usaspending.gov. Here you can very specifically, what I did last night is like, ooh, this looked up Lockheed Martin. 301 billion over their lifetime that's in this system. They may have a lot more prior to 1974. Okay, but this is just what's been in the system. Look at the amounts. There's all the transactions they've had. Here's very interesting information: contracts, grants, others. Could have been other projects, classified stuff that they're not going to tell you about. Direct payments are disaster loans, or not disaster loans, but direct payments.
Like overseas, they just pay the pension.
Okay. So then, here's the agencies that they've worked with. Whether or not it was competed, full and open, competition, not available for competition.
Sole source.
Sole source, same with it. And then all the different Lockheed Martin entities, and I did the list that went on and on. Over here, this list goes all the way down and then page after page after page after page. And here again, you can look specifically, this is a modification number 9 to this particular contract, but you can go in and look at it.
I noticed that Texas has the darkest, what's the reason?
Most money made in Texas.
Yeah. Lockheed
For
Martin.
Lockheed Martin, this has been the strongest area of receiving dollars. Then it would, everything but the white. The white, they haven't done any work.
Yeah.
That's recorded here.
South Dakota.
So I would say Georgia, Texas, and California are the top ones. Colorado, just behind that, and New York, and the East Coast right here.
They have big
Beltway
facilities.
Bandit.
You know.
Right around DC.
Yeah, Lockheed got large facilities in those green states.
Yeah. That's where they're primarily located, and that's where they're working. So you can go in up here, this is Prime Award Advancer Sub-Award, type in the name of the company. It will pre-populate really quickly as you're typing it, and you go, oh, there's the company. Boom, now you can look at all their contracts. You can see what they're getting, when they got it.
All this is public information.
All public information. Extensive amount of research time. I do this on a regular basis. I can zip around and I have people who are like, what did you just do? It's like, well, in the interest of saving time, here's your report. Okay, here's what Sally was talking about also. Every agency has an Office of Small and Disadvantaged Business Utilization representative. Even more so, they have representatives of each of the economic categories. You will have a home and owned small business representative for the Department of the Army. You will have a veteran representative, an 8A representative, a hub zone representative. You can call them direct. I got a problem. I got a contracting officer that's not working with me. What am I not understanding in this process? And I will tell you this, folks. Don't be adversarial with the government. Don't do it. You're looking for help. Yes, it's your tax dollars. Get more with sugar than you do vinegar. Come from the standpoint that you're trying to learn. Somebody will take the time to teach and educate you, give you a little inside track. That's what you really want. You don't want to set them off with, I'm not going to help you, and now I'm not going to answer the phone because I can see it's your number. Leave a message. You know? Work with them to work with you because their goal is to meet the small business goals. Work with them on it. Don't be adversarial. And now that you've read all about and promoting all of this, these are all live links. These are all the agencies that have them. Within these links, you will find those additional contacts. Army probably has 25. Air Force has 25. You know, DOD is very, very focused on this. Department of Agriculture has a great number of them. This is the folks, these are the folks that are sitting down in DC at their headquarters. You have a small business representative right here. You have a procurement center representative for SBA. There are additional local folks. This is sort of a last resort, or at least a, how do I get this started? And they tell you, oh, you want to call Sally at the PCR, or you want to call, you know, Cisco's gone now. He's retired, right?
Retired.
Okay, so, you know, but they'll tell you, oh, the new contact is for your area for White Sands, Mr. Range, and, you know, it's this and what have you. These are all live links. We weren't happy to send this to you. Here's some of the resource information that we had talked about. This one, specifically New Mexico. There's 50 others, and I can say that. Well, there's actually 52 others, because you have the Virgin Islands as well, and the national catalog. Okay? SBA, or Small Business 3, is the publisher, the printer. They work with each district office to get good information. We have back here all the lenders in the state participating in SBA loans. We have all other sources, chambers of commerce. We have numerous entities that work with small business, how to start a small business, how to get into these programs. Valuable. And Ralph, this is your copy.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. SCORE is another one that's very good at working with you. These are retired executives who donate their time, volunteer their time to assist. SBA.gov/news. Sign up, get the newsletter, find out what's going on. Did you know that the Small Business Administration was the smallest, deepest cut agency, independent agency, and it is now a cabinet level position? In the last 2 years, it has now been brought to the cabinet table.
What does that mean to us?
What does that mean to you? It means that the administration, whoever it may be, currently it's under the current president, so that the administration now, the Small Business Administration, has a voice in policy and procedure. They're no longer dictated to. They're part of the game. Code of Federal Regulations. I always use the electronic Code of Federal Regulations. Lawyers will use the printed version, but you can trust what's here at the ECAR. Regulations.gov. Any kind of changes that are occurring to laws. For example, there's a proposed rule out right now requiring gas and oil, if they're using hydraulic fracturing, to identify the chemicals. The Bureau of Land Management wants to know, what do you think about that? Public person? Do you agree? Do you have comments? They're asking for comments. Federal Register, it kind of mixes in with the regulations, but here you can find projects that are being submitted to the Office of Management Budget, i.e. the President's Office, for approval. It will even describe the costs that they expect. Sometimes you get an inside track on what the project's going to cost. Where in federal contracting, kind of a cool little site. This is just a freebie site some folks have put together, but they talk about current legislation, what's going on, this agency, that agency, contracts that may be of interest. Biz Calendar is uniquely New Mexico. All the training and programs that are going on across the state, segmented by region. Oh, this is the other one. You like my vortex? Don't get lost in a black hole of information. Honestly, don't get lost in it. If you need help navigating it, again, the free resources are available. Ask them a specific question, they will help you. You can call me, I'm fine with it, I will answer your question. I have no problem with that. My passion is small business, and I'm very clear that I want New Mexico small business to succeed in this market. Any other questions?
I had more of a political question. With the election coming up, do you see any changes coming up depending on who's president? We don't have to name who that will be, but...
Well, I can tell you right now, we talked a little bit about the fact that we're under continuing resolution. The budget was never passed for 2012.
Okay.
The budget has not been passed for 2013. It's only been extended to March. Well, in what's called the DoD, Department of Defense Reauthorization Act, which is the budget, is a proposed rule to raise the small business from 23 to 25%. There's another regulation. 40% of all contracts must have a subcontract to a small business. It's on hold. It's on hold because the budget can't get passed.
Those are the laws that with the new administration.
Yep. If the budget gets passed, House and Senate have already approved that, that language will stay in there. 40% subcontract requirement is the first time ever where the government has come back and said, not only will you prime out 25% because they want to raise it 2%, but you're also going to subcontract 40%. So yeah, as far as, it's not a political statement, it's a fact of policy and procedure that your congressional representatives, need to push these things through, and you always have the ability to write them, to talk to them, to say, hey.
Yeah, and it is a negotiated subcontracting. But the problem is SBA's hands are tied because the FAR says good faith. Good faith. And until SBA has some bite in the regulation to these primes like Sandia and Los Alamos and a few others to say, these are the goals we negotiated, you're not meeting them, therefore we're going to do this. Because what the primes come back and say, it's good faith. So I would urge you as a small business to talk to your representatives to say, look, we need to revise this as a small business. That's number one. Number two is, as a small business, I would, and not just the county, but if you've ever tried to apply or sub to Sandia or Los Alamos, you have to go through their process because the federal government will not recognize SAM for the primes. The primes can't use it. They can use it to look into, but they can't use it to validate that you're a small business. And that's law.
Sandy and Los Alamos will come back here, oh, well, if you were in the 8A program. And it's kind of a sort of a tongue-in-cheek statement to me because they're not required to follow the federal acquisition regulation where it says, thou shalt subcontract. Well, that's how it works with the subcontracting plan programs.
They negotiate their subcon. We will award of our $9 billion, we're going to sub out $3 billion. And of that $3 billion, we're going to award 60% of it to small business. Okay? And then the categories. I will say this, the labs are way better at meeting their goals than the federal agencies for whatever reason. And I think the big reason is the contracting officer negotiated an incentive for them to meet that. And when I first started in this business, a lot of people told me we can't get to LANO, Los Alamos National Labs. Nobody wants, we can't do business. So I talked to LANO, and I will guarantee you, if you call them and you don't get an appointment, you call me, you pick the day, you'll have an appointment.
Did you bring business cards?
Yes, I did, because I'm part of your taxpayer dollars.
Yep.
You pay my
Thank you very much. If you have any questions, my cards are out here too, so I do appreciate y'all staying late night for this, but as you can see, it's got a lot of information.
Thank you. Thank you.
You get better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can drive. I can bend this one. I'll be
Okay.
there for a while. Every twice a week. I have trouble sleeping, but it's a mantra.
This is my baby, Jamaica. She's 16 years old. She's a wonderful dog.
Jamaica.
My black Dalmatian spot.
Cute picture.
She's a Dalmatian brown mix, but in the last couple of years, one of my dogs has come up on the edge.
Your timing is impeccable.
Yes.
At the age of 14. I figured you'd get another meeting, but get a copy of her presentation. It'll be well worth it.